Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So I had a gentleman ask me if I could do a review of the Chinese line, in particular the 112, and I said sure. I'm just going to go over kind of the gist of the Chinese line in general, the goods, the bads, which you got to take the good with the bad with any tank line you go up. Certain tanks have better gun depression. Some have better dispersion. Some have better armor, so on and so forth. I went through. I own all the Chinese line except for they don't have any artillery, so obviously there's no artillery. Um, I wonder if they'll ever get artillery for this line because there's several tanks. But anyways, so I got looking at your lower tier all the way up to the high tier with the 113 tier 10, your 111 5A at tier 9. Um, Very good tanks. The premium tanks, I've got all those. Looked at it, all their tank destroyers. And for the most part, the only real downfall I can see is the gun depression. Most all the heavy tanks, medium tanks, all of them, even the tank destroyers, have anywhere between 5 and 6, at the most 6. And I think one, maybe two, had 7 degrees of gun depression. But 5 and 6 is your pretty much your go-to gun depression. So the problem you're going to run into is if you're trying to go haul down, it's really hard because you can't get your gun down enough to take shots. So you end up coming up out of where you're hauled down and showing your whole front end, and that's how a lot of times you get penetrated. Even down at the little tier 2, I saw this thing, and I only got 2 matches in it. But I was like, holy crap, this got one of those, they call it a pom-pom gun, I think. Pom-pom? Yeah, pom-pom. Um, Average penetration 49 for your standard, 71 for your premium. Now remember, this is tier 2. 45 average damage, you get 4 shots, so you're looking at 180 damage. I mean, most of these tanks you're going to knock like 170. Most of the tanks you're going to knock out in 3 to 4 shots. So this thing's a little beast. Armor on the lower tier, obviously, really non-existent. The turret actually, even on the low tier, seems pretty good though. 30 in the front. I have no matches in the M5A1 Stuart. Don't even have it set up. This is just all stock. I haven't even taken it out yet. Um, the Renault, you're down to tier 1 here, and I haven't even upgraded this thing. This is all stock. But a few of a nice thing about the Chinese line too is your light tanks. Wicked good view range. You got your Type 64 at a premium tank, and you're looking at 435 view range. Type 62. Um, well, that's weird. I've got it set up with gun lane drive and vertical stabilizer. I'll have to change that because normally I'd have uh, coated optics on there. So I don't know why. Don't know why I have it set up like that. Um, Aim time is really not bad at 2.1 seconds. That's with this though, your gun lane drive. Hmm. All I can think of is I must have set it up for Clan Wars and just never stop. Just keep going, shooting on the move. Um, the new M41D. This has probably got the most gun depression out of all of them at -9. It's got pretty good gun. If you're top tier, if you're bottom tier, and you know, you're only gonna see it. Well, no, this will see tier 10s. That's right. It's the tier 8. 192 standard. You get APCR for your standard and your premium bumps you up to 227. You're going to struggle on the front of your Moss's E100s, but this isn't meant to go head to head. This is meant to sneak up, shoot him in the ass to the side, and get out of the area. Um, 59 Patton. This has got decent gun depression too. So there was a couple of them that are premiums that had good gun depression. -9. It's got the Patton, the M48 Patton pretty much turret at 177. And then they changed the actual Patton, and that one's got a really good turret now. It's got like the M60 turret. Then you got your Type 59. 230 standard. Oh, that's one thing that's really nice about your Chinese line is your turrets on these are just all phenomenal. You're looking at 230, 250, 280. I mean, these things, I don't think 280 on any of them, 240, 300 on that turret. Some of these turrets are just awesome. Um, all of them, your front lower plate is going to be, your weak spot. But, I mean, 290, 300, yeah, if you go haul down with this, good luck penning the turret on this. And most of them, they don't have much of a commander's hatch to really, get shots into. And if you look over here at the tank destroyers, we'll start out at smallest tier that I have, which is, well, I've got these little guys here, but the nice thing about the tank destroyers, they all have really good angling. So even though it's only 70 millimeters thick, it's got just wicked, wicked angling. So you'll bounce a lot of rounds on this, and you're like, dang. Here's the tier 6, the 131 GFT, same. This one here, this is the tier 9, right? Nope, tier 8, I'm sorry. This thing's got a hella gun. All the tank destroyers have just wicked guns. Average damage, 560. Great penetration. The penetration on most all the Chinese, the standard penetration usually is okay. On your lower tier, they're kind of mediocre. Mid-tier, better. Your higher tier, usually really good. Your tank destroyers, phenomenal. What is this one? Oh, the 120. This is the premium tier 8. I mean, look at the angle on that. I mean, yeah, it may only have, well, that's even got 120 of really well sloped. Yeah, so good luck penning that. But, see, that's where it gets you, is that darn gun depression. And then you got the tier 9. And look at the behemoth of a gun mantle on this thing. I don't know if that's all, I can imagine some of it's probably considered spaced armor. If somebody shoots that, I mean, it's got to go through that part of the mantle. Well, that was weird. I wasn't supposed to get those notifications while I'm making videos. But anyways, it's going to have to go through this mantle, and I mean, so basically they got this little strip right there, which is not as well angled, but it's still pretty good. But it's also 200 millimeters thick. I mean, you are going to bounce rounds, and also, same with your tank destroyers, you don't really have any weak spots up top, commander's hatches and stuff. And then here's the tier 10. The guns on these average to what, 750? Yeah, 750 average damage, 290 standard, 395 premium. The premium is heat on most all these, I think. Yeah, well, you can't win them all. Some of them you're going to get down to where it's APCR like this one is. I prefer APCR because of you don't have to worry about spaced armor. You don't have to worry about at a certain angle. And the only real good thing about your heat shells is it doesn't lose penetration over distance where your AP and your APCR does. But anyways, let's get back to the 112 since this is the one he wanted me to do. And we'll just kind of go over it real quick. The gun on these, they did just buff them a little bit ago. So the penetration's a lot better than, I think it used to be 175 or less. It was really not really good. So everybody playing these was going to be slinging the crap out of heat. Your 112 and your 111 are both premium. They're both almost identical, except for the 112 has 240 millimeters of frontal armor, where the 111 has 230. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical, I think. Yeah, pretty much identical. They toughened up the frontal armor on these, the upper plate, lower plate. Just all around, both the 111 and 112 got a buff. But your standard penetration is 186 and it's AP. Premium is 250, which is heat. The nice thing about both the 112 and 111 is you won't see anything higher than a tier 9. So 250 is doable at tier 9, but even at E75 that's angled, that's really going to still struggle to go through that. 186, well, it all depends on what you're shooting at. That's, tier 9. So it's just really varies. Just still, aim for weak spots. That's your best bet. And 61 for your HE. Standard damage is 390 on your premium and your standard, 530 on your HE. And let's go over the armor. 120 on the hull, which is actually really nice. And like I said, they just buffed it up on the whole thing, really. And 240 on the turret. If they aim, they might be able to hit these commander's hatches. But all you gotta do is wiggle the turret back and forth and just wiggle, just dance around. They won't hit it. On the side, you got 120 on the hull, 130 on the turret. The turret is really well armored. Even in the back, it still has 60. A little bit bigger of a target, but 60 on the hull, 60 on the turret. So all in all, it's a pretty good tank. Mobility, it's 46.55 tons, so you can ram into stuff and you're going to squish it. Specific power weight on both these is not the best. 12.46, a little bit better on the 111. But it's a heavy. What do you expect? Top speed is 45 in forward, 15 in reverse. Concealment, not bad for a heavy, really, 8.61. View range on my setup is 384, and signal range is 600. Now, I have it set up with CO2 tanks. I'm going to take these off. I haven't played the 112 or 111 in forever, and the reason I quit playing them is because I kept getting lit on fire. Like literally every match I would get lit on fire. So I think what we will do, so we're not blind as a bat, is go ahead and put yeah, we'll put coated optics on there. That'll bump the view range up. Let's see, it's 422, a lot better. What's the aim time? Aim time is 2.62, so I'm going to leave the enhanced gun lane drive. Normally I'd pop that off and put vertical stabilizers. Basically, the vertical stabilizers keeps it 20% smaller on the move, and then when you stop, then your enhanced gun lane drive kicks in and shrinks it down. So a lot of people, they're religious about vertical stabilizers. I really look at the aim time. If it's super high, then I'll put gun lane drive on it, because I figure a lot of times with a heavy tank, you're not really, zooming around the battlefield. You're just moving up a little bit and then stopping, waiting to see if anything gets lit up, and so it's already shrunk in because of the the enhanced gun lane drive. Vertical stabilizer is basically as you're moving, it keeps it shrunk down. So if you only, if you're stopping, you're sitting there, the gun lane drive is going to keep it shrunk down a lot, smaller, give you a better, smaller reticle, easier to hit stuff. But anyways, now that we talked about it enough, why don't we go ahead and take it out and do some battles with it and see how we can do. I'm going to change my loadout, because you can see when I played it last time, like I said, it was a long time ago, and that's when you really needed heat shells because the AP sucked. I think it was like 170, maybe 175. So it's up to 186, a little bit better, so we'll change that around. But otherwise, I think I might bring up big kits for the first aid and stuff too, just in case. But anyways, if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back with some gameplay, and then we'll have some post-game stats. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here we are in the 112. We are top tier on Stadansky. I think that's how you pronounce it. And my plan is, as you can see, already beeped on the map, I'm going to head over here. Now, looking at what the enemy had, I'm thinking I am going to get a ton of damage. Unfortunately, I went over to the building, and so did their VK101P, their T26C4, and their T29. T29 played it smart with a dispersion on this. He was behind a pole. I tried putting a couple shots in between the pole, two different poles, and with a dispersion on this, they just kept hitting the pole. So finally I gave up on him and just tried working on the super Pershing and the VK. This tank and the 113, both of them need a hellacious amount of gun handling buff. They really need to buff the gun on this big time. Penetration, aim time, the dispersion. Literally everything about this gun needs to be buffed. With heat rounds, you have the problem that you're not going to be able to go through stuff. I took a blind shot here. Should have aimed to the left just a little bit more, but you never know. But anyway, so I see what's coming this way, and I'm thinking, okay, the T-29, I can pen his lower plate. KV-2, I can pretty much pen him anywhere. I want to shoot standard rounds, so that way I can try making some credits. So I go over here, and I'll go with what I see. So here's the T-29, shrinking all the way in, and hits the pole. And I'm like, gosh darn it. So we block one round from the, I think that was the Super Pershing. And you can see already he's aiming for the commander's hatches. And like I said earlier, what you want to do is you want to wiggle these back and forth. But it's got a long aim time. It's like 2.40 seconds. And that's with a gun lane drive too. So the problem is you set still aiming in, and that's how they're able to put them through your commander's hatches so easily. I saw that Leo and took a couple shots at him in a minute, and you're going to see about the dispersion on this. So I aim up at his commander's hatch, and nothing. So basically I'm just kind of using my turret strength, and the Super Pershing is pretty smart. I'll give him credit. He's a good player. Thought I was going to be able to swing it through there, and the T-29 didn't happen. And you can see that's where the Super Pershing is putting his rounds. Or actually, the VK bounced one off me probably. Yeah, the Super Pershing put it right through here. I'm thinking maybe, hard to tell. I'm thinking the VK, oh, right here in the front. He tried going through the front of me on that angle. That was kind of stupid on his part. So basically, I know I'm going to have a hell of a time going through those. I saw the Leo back here, and I thought, well, let's see if we can get a shot in on him. Shrink. And did you see how far that went to the left? I mean, it was like a curveball. It went way to the left. And I thought, wow, that sucked. Let's try and get another shot in there. And then I didn't realize I loaded a premium round because I was going to use it on the Super Pershing. And it hit that building and kaputted. Now, that Leo, if I would have hit him, oh yeah, he'd have been just decimated. And I'm loaded a heat round again, didn't realize it, and look how high that went. That was like, I mean, it was going across and it went, I mean, the dispersion on this sucks miserably. That round way up over his commander's hatch, zoomed right in on his commander's hatch, aimed at his commander's hatch, and it shot right over his commander's hatch. So you can see 0.42 dispersion, and you got to sit still so you can get it aimed in there. And then when I finally hit his commander's hatch, it friggin' bounces with a heat round. Now I'm aimed right in, and it's giving me orange. And I hit his gun. And you can see he's just putting them right through the same thing. Those commander's hatches on my... That's the big weak spot on this. But you're forced to sit still, otherwise you're just not going to hit anything. Finally, I'm like, screw this, I'm going to flank him. I was getting frustrated because I couldn't pen him, and he was putting his rounds, and he's doing standard rounds too, which I was like, kudos for him. I was hoping that E-25 would back out, no such luck. So I'm like, the hell, he finally got taken out, and I'm like, the hell with it. I'm going to flank around here, because like I said, I was getting frustrated. I couldn't go through the front of the E4. I saw the 3485 over there. I thought, okay, hopefully I can actually hit him. And that was, I think that was a standard round, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't paying attention. I did put it back on standard rounds. I don't like shooting heat rounds, especially like anything with spaced armor, like the Super Pershing. You know, it's all spaced armor, and you're limited to where you can shoot. So I loaded up a standard shell, and I'm like, okay guys, I'm gonna come around here, hopefully they don't know I'm coming. And the Super Pershing's just sitting there, beautiful shot in the side, doesn't even see me. So we hit him for 399, woke him up, and I think I pissed him off because he comes popping over here. Now this is where standard round, I try and go through his lower plate, straight on, didn't even go through his lower plate. I wonder if let me see, when I want to pull out there and see if I can get a look and see where it hit on his lower plate. Oh, and then here's the VK, loaded, And nothing. Oh, crap. I wanted to, he bounced on me there, which was good, but what I want to look at is, no, I'm not seeing where I even hit him on that lower plate. I see a round that hit there, a bunch of them. That's probably, yeah, see these rounds right here, those yellow marks are me. It's kind of the way, oh, I must have hit right on that little lift. You can see right here. Hit right there. He lifted his gun up. He did what you want to do in a Super Pershing. When somebody's going to shoot at that commander's hatch, you just lift your gun up and it hits that. And that's exactly what he did. And it got hit there and hit there. Now, the round I just shot at him was an AP round, so there should be a white mark on him wherever I hit him. The weak spot I was talking about on the front of the Super Pershing is right here. You can put standard rounds through that all day long if they'll hold still, which most people aren't going to hold still. So I'm going, aiming, standard round. Oh no, was that a heat round? I think that was a heat round lower plate. And I'm like, Jeff, you retard. I forgot spaced armor. See how it's got the armor here. It's got that armor plate, and it's got a secondary armor plate there. You're not going to go through the front of this with a heat round. It's going to melt right on the front. It's not going to go through that second plate. So I'm loading a heat round. I'm like, oh, shit. And I figured I'm already, quarter of the way loaded. I don't want to keep waiting to load because then he's going to be able to put 2 rounds into me for my 1 to him. And especially if I reload right now, I'm screwing myself. So I'm thinking, okay, if I get a heat shell loaded, I got to go for that commander's hatch or that one. I got to hit it, and that's the only thing that's going to save my butt. So he bounces off me. Thank goodness. He did a wise thing by charging into me. You can see he's wiggling, but we hit his commander's hatch and finally take him out, and he actually started shooting premium rounds too. But you can see this thing does have hella good armor. Lower plate, he bounced. The premium round, I think this one right here is the one he just shot me with. I think that was the VK's round where he hit me there. So this thing, I mean, we bounced 1160 damage, and then I come around the corner, and the long aim time bites me in the ass because I see the artillery start shrinking in, and there he is. Oh, no, I didn't even get a chance to shrink in on him. He must have seen how close to being dead I was and just wanted me toasted. Somebody, say they must have been the KV-2. Some of the big caliber boomstick just missed him. But all I had was 168 health left. But, that's what I'm saying. You could see with this gun, I mean, I know what to shoot. I know where to shoot it. And I was really struggling to get it to penetrate anything. The VK, oh, you know what? I think, now that I just remembered, I think that is yeah, that was, even though I shot up here, that's still spaced armor, that where I hit him. See if I can aim right in on him right here. See, what I aimed was right here, and I forgot that spaced armor. I should have just aimed for the side of his turret. That was kind of freaking retarded of me to aim anywhere down here with heat round. If I had had the front, I could have aimed at his lower plate, but I didn't. So I should have shot him in the side of the turret, nowhere around the side, because that's all spaced armor on the side of this thing. So that's why that round didn't penetrate. So anyways, if you want to hold on for a minute, we will have some post-game stats, so I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here's the results of that match, and it was nothing glorious by any means. That's the problem you run into with the 111 and 112 gun, is you have heat for your premium, and your standard has crappy penetration, 186. It just is abysmal. So with a Super Pershing in front of you, heat's not going to go through the front of it because it's spaced armor. Turret, covered by spaced armor. So you got to use your standard round, which 186 is not going to go through the front of a Super Pershing. It's just not. It's the Super Pershing does have, I don't have those, though. It's got Chinese tanks up. It does have a weak spot, the machine gun port, but where he was setting, I can get a shot at it, and at that distance with .42 accuracy, yeah, forget it, ain't gonna happen. So I was trying to shoot his commander's hatch. Well, at that distance, it's too small of a target, and you could see, I mean, I was aiming a couple shots, actually fully shrunk in, and the shells were just going where they want to. The dispersion on this, the 111 is a little better at 0.39. The 1.2 is, or 112 is 0.42. So, um, how's the setting up on that? Oh, because I got vents, that probably kind of helps it a little bit, but that usually helps it like maybe from 42 to 41. So I wasn't able to pen pretty much anything that was kind of on that side. And here I was top tier. Top tier, I couldn't go through the side of a VK 100-01P with a heat shell. Bounced. Um, 3485. Oh, I finished him off. And it's got great armor. I mean, this has got good armor. The Super Pershing, my mistake was with the long aim time on these at 2.62, I was aiming in at the Super Pershing. He's already loaded, so he was putting rounds, just peppering him through the commander's hatches. So that's the thing where I was saying you got to wiggle your turret, move back and forth. But when you're aiming in at something, that not going to happen because obviously you have to move back and forth. Or hold still to aim in. If you're moving back and forth, your reticle is going to be this big. You know, it's going to be freaking huge. So yeah, he was able to put shells through the commander's hatches, and he was using standard rounds too. I was going back and forth between standard, premium. I was trying everything, and I was having just a miserable time penning anything. We ended up bouncing around from the VK101P. This got great armor. It does. So we bounced one shell from him for 440, and he got hit from us spotting him for 15. The Super Pershing, we finally put two shells, one through his side, and I think the other one I put through his commander's hatch for 751, finished him off, knocked out his track, bounced three his rounds for 720. The artillery at the end there, he freaking got me. Of all the tanks left, he aims right at me and gets me. I was also pretty low in health. But he ended up getting hit for 50 upon me spotting, and then they finished him off. 3485, I was able to get a shot on the back of his turret there for 344, finished him off. Dicker Max, we lit him up. He got hit for 34 upon us spotting him. And the T-50-2, we spotted him, and he got hit for 580, and we originally spotted him. So the coated optics really did come in handy. So we were fourth highest on damage, which, like I said, pretty miserable match, really. 1,095 damage with 2 kills. Base experience of 758. Like I said, 16 shots, and they were just winging everywhere. But I did hit 8 of them, but out of those 8, I only penned 3. They need to really buff the penetration on this, both the heat and the standard, mainly the standard. They need to give it at least 218 to 220, 225 penetration for the standard round in order for this thing to be a usable, good tier 8 premium tank. I mean, it makes credits. But I also didn't shoot a whole lot of premium, if I remember right, because Super Pershing, the front of it, just you're not going to go through it with it's just too much spaced armor. So you need standard rounds, and with 186 standard, it's just not going to go through it. It's got 2 plates to go through, so by the time it goes through the first plate, it's going through the second plate, it's already petered out. You know, you need to at least have, I'd say 225 would make this gun for the standard round, 225, and bump the heat up to at least 300. Even 280 would make the heat shell better. Otherwise, your only option is to spam HE, which it really depends on what you're shooting at. Now, if I'd have shot that Super Pershing with HE, 61 penetration on the HE shell, I'd have been hitting them for anywhere from 50 to maybe 100, if I was lucky. It might have been probably a lot lower. VK 101P, 25 to maybe 60 damage with HE shells. And I see a lot of people do spam HE with these. Sometimes they'll get the occasional lucky shot and hit something that has really no armor and do, 400 damage because the HE shell bumps up to like 450, I think, 530. But that's your only other option. I don't foresee them buffing these anytime soon, but they really need to. I mean, I haven't played these in so long because of the gun, and it looks like the buff they did really wasn't much of a buff. 1,095 damage, like I said, pretty pitiful. from a distance of more than 300 meters was one shot for 344. We got hit 11 times, 6 pen, 4 bounce. Hits received some blast damage was artillery, so we did block 1160. So it's got decent armor. Spotted 1, damaged 2, destroyed 2. Damage with our assistance was 679, and we made 45,094 credits with it. So, I mean, if you already have this, I mean, you just want to have to try, playing it to the best of your ability, working with different types of ammo. If you're not penning with your AP or your heat, then start slinging HE at them. Maybe I'll even start changing out the 111 and 112's gun and carry, 10 HE and a couple less heat and, a couple less AP or something. Because just 186 is just pitiful. I mean, I was just bouncing off everything that I did hit, and the aim sucks so bad on it. The aim time, it's just the gun handling on this tank is just kind of miserable. It really is. And this is a bad one to. The guy that wanted me to do this mentioned the 112, and that's why I did the 112. If I were doing one, I would have done the 111 5A. Way better gun. 130 millimeter, I think. Yeah, 250 standard, 340 HE. The 113, same. That's kind of 130. No, 122, 249 standard, 340 with your HE or heat shells. I mean, or even the 110 at Tier 8. This is actually a really good tank. 215 standard, 265 with your premium, and it's APCR. Now, that match would have been a whole different story if I would have had APCR for my premium round. Guaranteed I would have been going through that super Pershing like butter. No problem. But heat rounds on spaced armor, it just detonates on the outside and does nothing. And the AP rounds just suck with 186 pen. You just don't have enough penetration to pen them. So I apologize. That's really the best, I could probably get unless I just played several matches, and I don't want to do that. I'm not going to, sugarcoat a match and get 3,000 or 4,000 damage, which I could do, but that's not doing you any good. I want you to see what the tank can actually do, not go out there and say, well, he did, 4,000 damage, so I can do 4,000 damage, and have you do 500 damage consistently or 1,000 damage and go, what the hell am I doing wrong? I want you to know what it can and can't do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you don't have this tank, I wouldn't waste my money on it, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever reviewed the 111 or 112. Unless they buff these guns, I wouldn't waste my money on the 111 or 112. I would definitely go with a premium tank destroyer. Maybe the 41 M41D. I mean, this one, yeah, it's even got better pen at 192, and they're both APCR and 227 for your APCR. If I would have had 227 penetration, I probably could have went through that super Pershing with APCR. It's just, yeah, the gun on these really needs a lot of work, especially the penetration and the aim time, dispersion, everything. It just needs a lot of work. But anyways, I hope this helped you out. I mean, I know it wasn't a lot of damage. It wasn't nothing like, woohoo, let's write home about this match. But it's something, and maybe it will steer you in the right direction or help you determine whether you want to get it or not. If you don't have it, like I said, I would highly recommend not getting it until they buff these guns. But anyways, yeah, I hope this helped you out, and you take it easy, be safe, and I'll see you on the battlefield.